It's not easy being a salesman, not these days, not when you're out on your own. You take last week, for example.
Tuesday, right? Got stuck in traffic and missed 3 appointments. Wednesday, nice house, order looking promising, and then... Thursday. Actually, Thursday was all right. But Friday...
Why don't you just...
Very nice. And at this age, you know, there is a lot to be said for being on your own, a lone worker. But you've got to watch out. You take a bit of care. You know what I mean? Well, actually, maybe you don't know what I mean. In which case, stick around. As far as lone working goes, your employer has to assess the risks to your health and safety and come up with systems and procedures for ensuring safe working. You've got to be given any necessary instruction and training for work equipment, manual handling, for example. You may be out of sight, but your employer has a legal responsibility to ensure that you are not out of mind. And in all this, there's another very important person, you. When you're out there, you're in control. You're in charge of your own destiny. But how many of you have really prepared for that, eh? Planning. For some of us, planning simply means having the right tools and equipment for the job, the right PPE. But for other lone workers, planning has to go further than that, much further.
Roof tiles up there. Whenever we go into a business premises, what we tend to do is we look at our property records. So we take the file out, look at the last inspection, see what the problems were, if any, and then see what areas we're going into. There are certain areas in the city that after 4 or 5 o'clock we wouldn't go out, but during the day it's not a problem to go out on your own.
I assess the areas of the city that I'm going to. If there's a premises on the list for the day that I'm not too sure about, I'll tend to go and speak to the officer that visited the premises last. I'll ask them if they had any concerns or issues at their time of visit, any reason why they wouldn't feel comfortable in going alone. If there seem to be outstanding issues, I would speak to my line manager about that and either ask for her to attend with me or for another member of staff to attend with me, so I wouldn't be going out to the premises alone. We mark when we're out of the office, the time we're expected back to the office, and a list of the premises in the order that we'd be going to them in. It's our responsibility to phone the line manager at the time we finish to let her know that we've finished safely.
A lot of the problems with lone working is people forget that they are on their own and they don't think of their own safety at times. If you've not got some form of monitoring, or you've not let somebody know where you're going to be, what time you're going to be there, what time you expect to finish, you could find yourself in trouble.
Once every 2 weeks we do an evening training session. The kind of provisions I put in place are to make sure that I've filled out a lone worker form so that people in the office know exactly where I am, where I'm going in the evening. I need to make arrangements for what we call a safe return. I can nominate a colleague or a member of our management team who will be my point of contact for that evening. I make sure I have enough petrol in the car. I make sure that I have my mobile phone with me. I have some money on me. I have an alarm that I take with me. I have a torch in the boot of the car. I have some warm clothes in case I break down. My car is always kept in good working order. And I'm a member of the emergency breakdown service, so I have that added security as well.
Then we actually have to go and do the job, which is where another type of risk assessment comes in.
One of the major things that you need to do in any situation is to actually do a risk assessment as you're going along. As I'm walking towards an establishment, I'm looking to see who's about around the establishment, who's about in the doorway, focusing on the people I'm going to speak to. All the time I'm speaking to the door staff, I'm also keeping an eye on the door to see who's coming in, who's coming out, whether they're drunk, what sort of state they're in, just to make sure that I'm not putting myself in harm's way in any way, shape or form.
We use a task-based risk assessment, so for any particular job, I've got a list of all the different things to watch out for, and obviously we can add on to them before we start any job. If there's any site-specific or any difference in conditions, obviously today it's raining, so that might cause a few problems working live, that kind of thing. One of the most dangerous things, obviously the same as anyone really, is driving, especially on today's roads. But of course we've got the added problem of actually working next to the roads, and I'd say other people are the main problem. Unfortunately, it's something you can't really do anything about. You've just got to be mindful and keep an eye and an ear out of what's going on around you.
As soon as you arrive on a site, you have to do a quick risk assessment to see whether or not there's deep trenches, or if they're working at height that with the scaffolding that nothing's going to fall on your head. There are times that people are oblivious that you're arriving on site, and sometimes you just have to shout up to them to just stop work so that you can walk through underneath the scaffold without the fear of dust coming down into your eyes and or half bricks coming down. You are going out on your own. You're your own boss. You're in your own little environment. I mean, this is my mobile office at the end of the day on 4 wheels. Will take me from site to site. If had a hard day and fatigue sets in, it doesn't do any harm just to pull into the lay-by for 5-10 minutes and just get out and get a bit of fresh air. Because obviously, getting tired whilst driving can be a major hazard to you and other people.
We do get other people who are in a rush to get from A to B, and then they'll cut across us and not drive properly. And we found a lot of people who, frankly, can't drive.
Many years ago I was working alone. I used to work much longer hours than I do now, and I was on a mountain track, on a mud track in Wales, and unfortunately I was very tired and I lost control and rolled it, and that hurt a lot. And luckily I got away with it really, but it's certainly hammered home careful driving and, you know, staying awake at the wheel. It's no fun crashing.
And another thing, are we taking breaks? Are we getting proper meals? It needs thinking about, because some of us need all the energy we can get.
There's still a lot of improvement to be done here.
Nothing to worry about, just a routine.
Dealing with people, be friendly, have a smile, try and get people onto your side really. There's some very nice people out there. There's some people who are quite intimidating as well. And if you get a few of them in a day or a week, they can make your life quite miserable.
You got many in tonight? Quiet. The first thing whenever you're dealing with any person, any situation, is always treat them as you'd like to be treated yourself.
Thank you.
Don't demean people, always treat them as an equal.
The key things I find that help are trying to listen to exactly what it is that someone's saying to you, being as empathetic as possible and trying to understand how they may be perceiving what it is that I'm saying to them. That often helps me modify what I'm saying or the manner in which I'm saying it. And again, being assertive without being aggressive, and being confident enough to remove myself from a situation if none of that works and it does become uncomfortable.